My name is John Hilton, and I'm here to talk with my colleague, Dr. Diane Touliatos-Miles, and to interview her concerning her new book, which I am holding in my hands, The Descriptive Catalogue of the Music Manuscript Collection of the National Library of Greece, Byzantine Chant, and Other Music Repertory Recovered. Diane, why did you choose to write this catalog, and what was your purpose in undertaking such a monumental project?
There has never been a catalog of the manuscripts of the National Library of Greece, much less the music collection. And for any scholar who has ever worked in the National Library of Greece, it is a harrowing experience. So it's like trying to find needles in haystacks. So that was my incentive to at least be able to offer something to colleagues that they could use as a source rather than basing what was mentioned in preceding bibliography or reference and try to find numbers before and after that source.
Which readers will find this book useful?
The readers that will find this book useful are many in number. There are classicists, yes, people in the classics that will benefit from this, as well as musicologists, of course, hymnidists, Western medievalists, Byzantinists, but also philologists, people that study languages, and scholars of patristic studies, and many, many more.
How many manuscripts are included in the book, and what are the general contents?
There are 242 manuscripts. They are very varied in what they contain. But the way the book was set up, it includes the original languages of the manuscript, along with modal signatures, any attributions, composers' names, performance practice rubrics, translations of these, and all commentaries are in English. Also, there's a glossary in English, and there are appendices in the back that categorize the manuscripts according to what types they are, and also a listing of the Holy Sepulchre from Constantinople manuscripts that are now housed in the library but were not included in the catalog because they've been cataloged.
Does the book contain any Western manuscripts, or is it entirely Byzantine?
It is mostly Byzantine, but there are a few Western manuscripts that come to mind. There is a Western manuscript that has an offertory to the Requiem Mass, and it is unusual. It's published around it was written around 1830 or 40, and it has in its 20 parts an ophicleide. It's in score notation, and an ophicleide is a new instrument of that time, which is unusual to have it in there. Also, there is an offertory by Johann Michael Haydn and another manuscript. So there are examples, and a few other things as well, of Western composers and Western manuscripts.
Can you give us some general information on the various types and notations of the Byzantine manuscripts?
Well, there are various types of manuscripts, and way too many names for me to go into all of them, but the Psaltiki technique is the art of chanting, and it gives much information, also theoretical information on how to chant and the modes, etc., and the relationship of modes. There's also the Akolothea. This has the anthology of all the music for the canonical hours, as well as the three liturgies, the Stihiradion, and the Stihiradion includes all the feast days, and it has verses for all the saints and other important feasts, and usually composers are always included.
And about the composers, could you elaborate on the numbers, names, or other attributions that appear in the manuscripts?
There are 509 composers, and I found this fascinating. I was just so happy when I would run across a name that I didn't know. And we have some of the earliest composers in the history of music that have contributed and are present in this manuscript. Their music is available. We have John Damascene, one of our earliest. He's attributed with the Octoechos. We have Ephraim of Koreas. We have Theophanes, the patriarch. Cosmas from Ayupolitis, Jerusalem, our earliest female composer, Cassia, and many, many other early composers. And if we go into the 14th, 15th century, the prime time of Byzantium, and we have composers like Kladas or Ioannis Koukouzelis, who I refer to as the Beethoven of Byzantium. So there are many, many names.
Are there any other particularly interesting or unusual treasures that you've uncovered in these manuscripts?
There are many treasures. There are far too many to even talk about. There are literally hundreds and hundreds just waiting to be uncovered. But I found it particularly appealing that we have examples of double melodies from the earliest of times. And this was referred to by our church fathers in the early centuries as the undervoice, but we find notation, the original in black notation and the red notation for the added melody, the double melodies. And these appear in Serbian, Bulgarian, and we also have detailed performance practice indications for the cathedrals, of the choirs, the responsorial, antiphonal, and it goes on. But the ancient Greek treatises, I found this particularly amazing because the ancient Greek treatises, Pindar's winning Olympic odes from the 6th century BC, are used as teaching methods for using rhythm in Byzantine chant in the 12th century, a time that is contemporary with Notre Dame School of Music and their use of modal rhythms. So there's a lot for comparison and study.
Well, why is this book important for the scholarly community, and does it fit into a bigger picture?
It is important for the scholarly community because it offers much information, not just on the Byzantine repertory, but for comparable purposes. I've already talked about some of the Western influences, but it goes beyond that. There are serious comparisons to be made with Eastern influences in Byzantine music, particularly the Byzantine references that are found in Arabic music and how it might influence, or vice versa, Serbian, Bulgarian, Georgian, Russian music. And more than anything, the whole purpose was to make this reference book available so that scholars could find an easier way of comparing and making comparative investigative sources and studies.
Well, Diane, thank you for talking to me today about this book. And as a reminder to our viewers, the book can be purchased directly from www.ashgate.com, as well as from Amazon and other sources.